Hi there everyone, Lars back with another writer's review and analysis for Kimi Wa Meido Sama, this time for episode 3, brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers, because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And as in previous videos, I will be having a look at the events within the episode. I'll then be comparing them to what we got in the manga, and then we will look for some writing advice that we as novice authors can glean from this fantastic show. Now, this episode is probably the most straightforward thus far, because Hitayoshi's younger sister Riko shows on up, gets to meet the beautiful Yuki, falls head over heels for her because she just absolutely adores beautiful, gorgeous, amazing people, and is thrilled to find out that her brother doesn't just simply have a really cute mochi dog, but that he also has a former assassin in his employ. Haha! Why did Dad allow any of this to happen? Who knows, but she is willing to go along for this, especially because she needs to finish a research project for her summer homework, and she needs to interview someone. She needs to get to know their job, and she wants to get to know Yuki. So this leads to them not only spending a great afternoon together, but going on out to a festival and just enjoying their time, getting some more delicious sauce, enjoying the fireworks, as Yuki realizes that really the only time that she's ever been to a festival before is when she needed to assassinate someone with all of the sound and bodies going around, which, fun little fact of assassinations, actually really isn't that horrible of an idea, because you do blend in your heinous deeds with everything else that's going on. Not that I'm giving any assassin advice, just saying, yeah, this actually works out pretty well. Now, as Hitayoshi, Yuki, and Riko leave the festival because it's late, Riko's got to go home and everything, there is someone who has swiped a purse while he's riding along on his motorcycle. Classic trope right here, and he goes right for Riko. He's going to run her on over. Yuki quickly gets her out of the way, motorcyclist goes on through, and Hitayoshi kind of pitches a fit because there's absolutely nothing that is okay about this particular scenario, and people like this need to be punished. Well, Yuki takes that as a command, and she goes full assassin, rushing after the motorcyclist to take him down. Hideyoshi and Riko try to keep up, and miraculously they do, which is a little bit silly, but they keep up, find Yuki as she throws her knives, takes out the motorcyclist's wheels, causes him to flip on over. She comes in for the kill, and then taps his helmet and is like, that's bad. Don't do that again. And the motorcyclist just completely collapses. The public comes and has a citizen's arrest while the three of them get away. And Yuki just feels so happy that she didn't have to kill anyone. It is okay for her to have this new normal where she doesn't have to kill someone. This is fantastic. And she wants to experience more of this great normal life. And as she gets to know Riko a little bit more, she realizes, oh, there's all these things that a normal girl would do, such as going to school. Is it possible for me to go to school? Lo and behold, on the first day of the new semester, as Hideyoshi is in class listening to his friends bring up the beautiful maid that's been seen around town, he's like, whew, at least no one knows that it's me. Yuki shows up as a pretend exchange student, or as just a new student, and not only that, she's using his last name. Bum, bum, bum. Now and again, this is a pretty fun, straightforward episode. However, when we compare it to what we got in the manga, things get a little bit interesting right here, because this episode cherry-picked little elements from further into the story to create this particular episode. None of this, other than the purse swiping, actually happened. Well, yes, Riko does go to meet Yuki, gets to know Yuki, but she actually leaves really quick after being like, oh my gosh, you hired a maid who's an assassin, that's so cool, I want to do a project on her. And Hitayoshi's like, no, you will not. And she's like, oh, you're such a letdown. Boo, well, I'm going to go tell mom and everything's going to be great. See you later, Yuki. I can't wait to get to know you more. Bye. And Yuki's like, wait a second. Normal girls go to school. Can I go to school? And Hitayoshi's like, I don't know. How old are you? And then come to find out, Riko helps Yuki get into school. A little bit of spoilers right there. Sorry. And as they go to get the sauce, well, late at night, that's when the motorcyclist comes on through, nearly runs over people. Yuki goes in hot pursuit, decides not to kill him, and that's when we're introduced to someone who's going to be very important throughout the entire story. It's a very ominous introduction. We didn't get any of that here in this episode. It made me wonder, why go this particular route? Because the manga goes full speed ahead, showing the great contrast between the normal life that Yuki wishes to have, the assassin's life that she's trying to escape from, that is persistently chasing after her, and how she begins to reconcile these two worlds to create what for her is her normal, how she can be a normal girl. That is one of the main theses to this entire series. Yes, it's the rom-com between her and Hitoyoshi, but it's also about how she becomes the person that she wishes to be. And the chapters that were kind of messed around with in this episode really help to set up more of that conflict going later on. So what I think the adapters were trying to do in the anime here is that they wanted to really solidify that Yuki is trying to be a normal girl. She's trying to be someone who isn't an assassin. And we get that in this episode with her chasing down the thief and taking out his wheel and then deciding not to kill him. So we get all of that. And then she decides that, you know what? New normal, and being normal makes me very hungry. Let's go get some more sauce and enjoy ourselves. Yay. And I can understand this softer approach to Yuki because it will make, when her assassin's life does catch up with her, it will make it all the more stark and dark and meaningful. However, I will say this, I'm not a huge fan of how they changed things up, just simply because I really do feel like the early chapters do a fantastic job of setting up all of the big themes, ideas, and characters that you will need for going further into the story. We're not getting that yet just here. So it makes me wonder, what other big changes are going to happen in this anime? I don't really know, and I can't say that this is a bad change, because I haven't yet seen where this is going to lead us. So we'll just have to wait and see. So while I don't like this bit of adaptation, well, I can't say that it's good or bad, but I can see maybe why they decided to go this particular route. Now, with all of that being said, what are things that we as novice authors can take away from this particular episode? My biggest thought really is this, since it's pretty straightforward, it's really easy to understand episode, but the biggest lesson I really took away from this episode is that there's a lot of tropes going into this episode. Now then, a story is run by tropes. You can't write any story without using tropes. Everything that you write into a story has already been classified as some trope or another. And if you want a greater dive into the nature of tropes and storytelling, then please check out our most recent live stream. I'll have a link for that. But what I noticed is that we got a lot of very typical tropes happening within this particular episode. We have the festival. Oh, you go to the festival and people begin falling in love at the festival. We've got the younger sister with the little snaggletooth showing on up. We have the purse being stolen by a motorcyclist. What's going to happen there? We get the little head bump. And we also have the cute girl being exchanged on into your class at the time that you least expected. Ho ho! We're getting all of these tropes into, obviously, a rom-com, and for some people, that's just going to be really good comfort food. For other people, it's going to make them roll their eyes. Tropes are what they are, but I will argue this, is that while I did not necessarily enjoy some of the adaptation choices made in this episode, I can appreciate what was done with these particular tropes, because the story is trying to establish how Yuki wants to be a normal girl. And so for her, for the other main character Hitoyoshi, and for the audience who normally knows what these tropes are, the writers are using all of them to try to solidify, look, they're trying to have your typical rom-com, a simple, normal, cutesy life for our main good girl Yuki. Yay! And it firmly grounds us in that particular story, so that way they can then pull the rug out from under us when they then introduce more of her assassin's life and the people who are going to be coming for her. In this case, the tropes work out really well. Yeah, we might say that they're a little bit overdone, but for what was done in this particular episode, it was cute, it was well enough executed, and again, it grounds us in the particular story that we think that we're getting and that the writers want us to believe we are getting before they pull the rug out from underneath us. And this is a good use of tropes. There are all these people who say, no, you must subvert the trope, or you must avoid the trope, you must invert the trope. It's totally fine to lean into those tropes if they help you to tell the story that you want to tell. And again, for a far more nuanced discussion on that, please do check out our live stream that we most recently did. It was a great discussion, and oh boy, we had a whole lot to talk about. But that will do it for this particular episode of Kimi Wa Meido Sama. And I do hope that you're checking it out, and I'm really looking forward to the next episode. Even if this wasn't my absolute favorite, this is a fun story, and I love Yuki, Hitoyoshi, and Riko. If you thought that Riko was a little bit annoying right here, I can say this with some confidence, having read further into the manga, she gets to be a whole lot of fun. So, with all that being said, if you're looking for more reviews, analyses, writing advice, and the likes, then please check out our other videos here on our channel, and it would be great if you would support us by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing if you haven't already done so, or checking out the books that we have published. Links for them are in the description below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.
横谷ゆきです。ゆきとお呼びください。